you want to have an end of year 2025 net worth, income, and pay yourself first percentage going up. And that is OnTrack's only goals to help you to achieve your only goal. And an improved sleep situation is going to help achieve exactly that. So you have a current sleep situation. It might improve after this presentation based on you applying the principles. So first, why, and then we'll go to the how. Why should you have an improved sleep situation? Well, sleep is the most important part of self-care. If you really think about it, there's only two categories. You got work, you got self-care, and you self-care so that you can go back to work. And then once you've done your work, you then take care of yourself so you can take care of other people. Because that's really what work is. It's us taking care of other people, and then we have to make sure we take care of ourselves so that we can go back and take care of them. And sleep is the most important part of it, and that's why we gave it its own category in the OnTrack app, or else it would have just been two. So, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Benjamin Franklin is known for that quote. Obviously might have been there before him, but it's an amazing quote nevertheless. Nothing good happens after midnight. That's my mom. And I highly recommend that quote for everyone to, put that into your brain, because it is very correct. Exactly. Thank you, Jefferson. The most important hours of sleep, in my opinion, are between 9 p.m. and midnight. Now, some people might say, well, it's actually when you have your REM sleep, that's your most important part. Well, I promise you, if you actually go to sleep and have those hours between 9 and midnight, you will get to REM sleep. So that's the most important part. And the most important hours of thinking are between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. I was going to write work, but then I was like, it's actually the thinking hours in the beginning of the day that's the most crucial. And if you've had a really nice, good sleep, and then you wake up at 5 a.m., it is silent. You can literally drop a needle and hear it, right? And the reason why is because everyone else is sleeping. I like to think of this as the universe sending you and you alone the energy in the space that you're living in while everyone else is asleep. So you're getting basically the fountain of energy from the universe, and it basically helps you to think properly and to think outside the box and to give you ideas and hunches and all sorts of things. It's amazing between 5 a.m. and 8 a.m. Specifically, the earlier, the better. I wouldn't say before 4, but the earlier, the better, because there's no one making sounds, no one disturbing you. So it becomes deep work automatically. Some say that the body produces most testosterone during the morning hours. Do you want to be asleep at that time? It's a good question. Never ever work the graveyard shift. It's also Joseph. And the graveyard shift, for those that don't understand that, living other places in the world, it's basically night shift and doing night shifts in your jobs or even in business. I know of people that actually have graveyard shifts when they're building their business. And for me, that just doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't compute very well, and it will hinder someone's growth in their business if they do that long term. And if not, it's going to deteriorate their health, and that's not going to help either. During playoff runs, LeBron James is known for sleeping 10 to 12 hours a day. You're also a pro athlete. Make sure you recover daily. Get your 8 hours of sleep. What I mean by you being a pro athlete is you have to think about yourself as someone who is doing things that other people are not doing, right? You starting a business or you beginning to do the 80-hour work week is not normal, compared to what everyone else is doing. And so when everyone else is like, well, I can operate on 6 or 7 hours of sleep, or I can do this and I can do that, you're not that person. You are a completely different person. And as a result, you need to do different things. So you're doing a more intense schedule. That means you need to be more extreme and more intense in your recovery as well, so that you don't have injury or you don't have burnout, as they call it. Some people do. You want to make sure that you are mentally stable and sane the entire journey, which is intense. So you have to look at yourself as being a pro athlete, and also kind of, especially in the beginning of your business journey, when your schedule is not set in stone, you might need more than 8 hours of sleep. And again, remember, the hours before midnight are the most important. The most important aspects of any endeavor is how you start and finish, the beginning and the end, or the alpha and the omega. Interesting use of words. How you begin and end the day has everything to do with your sleep habits, doesn't it? Because when you begin the day, you've just slept. And when you end the day, you're about to sleep. So sleep is like the common denominator of the beginning and the end. So this is why it's so crucial to have that one set in stone and correct. So how good are your sleeping habits? We get back to how to sleep fast. Okay, if you struggle to sleep at night, okay, to sleep fast, it's either some of those things that I mentioned here. No decision to sleep at a specific minute. I wrote specific time first, but then I was like, no, specific minute. If you try to target a specific minute, whether that's 9:05, 9:04, 9:03, or 9, or it's 10, or whatever minute we're talking about, that's how accurate I want you to be, because you'll take it more seriously. If someone sets an appointment with you and they say you got to be there at 10:08, you'd be like, 10:08? Who sets appointments like that? It doesn't make any sense. Well, now you know how specific they need you to be in order for you to be there at that time. I worked as a metro driver. We actually operated on the minute type thing. And I did that for 5 years. And so if I wasn't there at 10:04 or whatever, the metro is going to go further. And then I missed my thing, and, I might get fired. So that's kind of how accurate I want you to be when you pick a specific minute for sleep. Second thing, no multiple alarms to remind you that everything can wait until tomorrow. Another mom quote. And a lot of people don't even have alarms to remind you that it's time for bed. And so you forget. And so, oh, today was different than yesterday. Oh, that's a problem. Another or a few more. Too much light in the room. Sounds that you cannot ignore. Wrong temperature in the room. An uncomfortable mattress. A dependency on stimulants. Some people take sleeping pills or melatonin. I'm like, what is this? What are you doing? That's not how the body works. See, the body actually produces everything that it needs as long as you give it good sleep, exercise, and wholesome foods. If you just make sure you do that, then your body will make sure that things are operating the way that they should. And the more that you try to integrate stimulants into this because you need fast results of some sort, the more you're messing up the balance and the routines that the body is designed to create. So very simply put, this is kind of like a short list that I wanted to mention because I'm not spending a lot of time on it, because I bet you the biggest problem is fast thinking. That is the reason why you are not falling asleep fast. Fast thinking equals falling asleep slow. Slow thinking equals falling asleep fast. So right before you go to sleep, are you thinking fast? Or are you thinking slow? Slow the heck down to fall asleep fast. So if you think about this 1 to 10 or 0 to 10 ratio, and it goes vertically, 10 is fast, okay? This is like fourth quarter thinking, and I'm thinking fourth quarter because I like basketball, and so I'm going to think in terms of basketball. And you have a fourth quarter, and that's when you're like, everything's racing. It's like, oh my gosh, this is the end of the game, and we could win it, we could lose it. That's the kind of mindset that will make sure you don't fall asleep. If you have that type of racy thinking, like, who falls asleep at the fourth quarter of a basketball game that's actually quite interesting? No one, right? Especially not the players. And so in your life, are you thinking like a fourth quarter right before sleep? Or are you not thinking at all? Because the less you think right before sleep, the faster you get to La La Land. And that's very, very simply put. So what do you do without thinking? Just think about your life now in general. What are some habits, some routines, some things that you do without thinking? They just happen automatically. So it could be brushing your teeth. It could be driving. It could be, like getting up in the morning and doing whatever it is that you do, or what you do at work. Okay. All of those things are routines in place and repetitions. For me, what do I do without thinking these days? I like basketball. So I shoot hoops. And one thing that was special this week, actually, I did 100 3-pointers in 28 minutes, which was pretty insane. I did my own rebounds. I was very happy about that. And what I've noticed with my shooting is that the more I practice, the luckier I get. Okay, we have that quote. But the more I practice, the less I also think about my shot. And one process that I've started is I try to shoot 20 in a row from a specific spot, and I do that on multiple spots on the court. And I have to score 20 in a row. Now that could take a long time because 20 in a row is not very easy. And what I do is once I get to 18, that's when my brain is beginning to think fourth quarter thoughts. Okay. And I don't want to have fourth quarter thoughts, because the more I'm in my head, the more I'm overthinking, the more likely it is that I miss the last thoughts or miss the last shots that I need to take. Right. And so me personally, I then go to 18, and in my head, while I get the ball for the last 2 shots that I have to score, I think 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I stop thinking 18, 19, 20. I go back to 1, 2, because those are the most probable hit shots. And when I go to 1 and 2, I now stop thinking. And so I end up being able to shoot with a higher accuracy as a result of me not caring about missing the first or second shot. And as a result, I actually hit it more probably. Okay, so just to kind of like a trick to kind of explain to you guys how you should be thinking when you're going to sleep, to have the aspect of the 1, 2, 3 aspect. And I just shoot 1 and 2 and then I'm done. Like I don't even go to the third shot. Anyway, so what are some things that you do without thinking? And I want you to apply that to falling asleep fast, because we want to apply the same principles of non-thinking. So the key is, as always, you guessed it, repetition and routines. So if our sleep schedule is all over the place and changes 3 times a week, or it changes every day, or it changes all the time, how likely is it that at that moment, that specific minute that you've now chosen that day, but no other day, how probable is it that you'll manage to fall asleep fast on that specific minute? The probabilities are extremely low. But if you actually did the same thing every single day, every single day, every single day, every single day, it's boring. And whatever is boring makes you fall asleep. Have you noticed that? I remember my high school girlfriend, she wanted me to watch The Phantom of the Opera. I went with her and her family. I fell asleep. I was bored as hell. I didn't remember, and I don't even remember what happened, Phantom of the Opera is like massively loud and all that crap. I fell asleep. Why? Because it was boring. So just understand that the more repetitive and the more routines you have when it comes to your sleep schedule, the more you're going to fall asleep fast. So what are Joseph's recommendations? 18-time world champion and falling asleep fast. I'm just kidding, because that doesn't exist. So number 1, stop working 1 hour before bedtime. Don't work, because then you're still in fourth quarter thinking, and then it's going to take you time to slow down your thoughts at the end there. So if you just stop working 1 hour before bedtime, that will allow you to be like, okay, I'm done. That was my day. I finished. It's over. Now I can relax. And then that relaxation now ends up preparing you for bed. Okay, number 2, I specifically am not that good at this. I wish I was better. So I think my confidence in falling asleep fast makes up for not doing number 2 very well. But it's one of the things that I want to do just in general, because that's going to help my next day and improve things in general, and make me progress on my journey as well. But I know that this will help those of you that are still struggling with falling asleep fast. If you do a brain dump in your journal, and brain dump, what I mean by that is just write everything down that you are thinking about that is taking up space, and make a priority plan for the next day. Most importantly, the top 3 need to be the best priorities, and then reaffirm your dreams and goals. Just have a list close by your bed that you can just like, this is my future. This is Awet 2.0. This is Adam 2.0. This is Jefferson 2.0, right? I'm looking at what my life is going to be like, and that's going to make me feel good, which is going to help me to fall asleep fast. Number 3, remove tiny obstacles. I call them tiny because that's what the stuff that I was saying earlier. The biggest thing is fast thinking, but it's also helpful to remove tiny other obstacles. Personally, my wife is really good at making the room dark, so that's fantastic. Number 2, we also, before moving to this apartment, I didn't need I don't know what earbuds. I'm not sure what they're called. But then we moved to this place, and we had a crazy old lady banging the walls, and we had dogs outside, and we had, the road is like right next to our apartment. So I had to start using earbuds or earbuds or whatever it's called. And also, me personally, I have an issue with clocks. So whenever I'm in a room, if I ever sleep over at your house in the future, or in your apartment, whatever, and I hear a clock that's going, I just can't do that. Like, I literally will do that in Airbnb apartments. I'll take out the battery just because I can't listen to that crap. So that's just one of the small itty bitty things that, might hinder me, but it's a tiny obstacle and I can fix it easily, right? Okay, head on the pillow, same time every single night without exception. Preferably, some of you guys have workloads that end at 9 and then other days at 10. And then it's kind of like, well, my sleep schedule might be a little bit different. But if you can make it same time every night, is going to make a huge difference. Number 5, breathing. Breathing. So if you're laying in bed, you've got your head to the pillow, you've done everything in advance. Now you come to the last stages before sleep. Breathing and just focusing on your breathing. I'm not a meditator myself. Like, people have been telling me for years, oh, you need to meditate, or you need to meditate. I just personally don't relate to it. I just don't do it. But it doesn't mean that I shouldn't breathe and learn how to breathe, because it's one of the most important needs of mankind from a hierarchy of needs. Breathing is like the top thing. If I don't breathe, I'm dead in a few minutes, right? So it's very wise to be good at breath and breathing, and that will help you to fall asleep, because the slower you breathe, the more relaxed you are, and as a result, you can fall asleep faster. Now, this is a trick. This is what my mom told me, and to be honest, this might be the entire reason why I'm the 18-time world champion, okay? And it's because she told me, just look at the black at the back of your eyelids. Now, what does that even mean? Okay, well, close your eyes. If you close your eyes and just look at the black, you're laying down, your head on your pillow. It's like, well, what's there to see? There's nothing. Exactly. It's boring. There's nothing there. Okay. And that will very quickly turn to relaxation and falling asleep. Try it out if you haven't tried it out. And last one is smile. I sometimes forget to do this. This is not on autopilot, but there are, I think, most days I take the opportunity of literally smiling right before I close my eyes, or right before I fall asleep. So this is the end of the presentation. At the end of the day, no pun intended, I literally wrote at the end of the day, and I was like, oh, that's funny. If I want to sleep fast at the end of the day. At the end of the day, what allows us to fall asleep fast at night is having a peace of mind. Always live with integrity and gratitude, believing that the future is bright and good things will follow, including sleep.